Are annuities really as bad as you've heard? Maybe someone told you, don't buy an annuity, you'll lock up your money for life, or stay away, low caps, low returns, terrible growth. Well, here's the truth. Annuities have completely changed, and what you think you know may already be outdated.
And that's why we're here with Ron Shurts, CEO and co-founder of Annexus, one of the key innovators behind today's annuity designs that addresses many of the complaints that you've heard about annuities. Yes, we want this video to transform how you think about retirement so you can better plan for your future.
Ron, first we want to thank you so much for inviting us to your beautiful studio. We know you're a busy man, so we appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us and discussing your innovations.
And for over 30 years, Ron has collaborated with some of the brightest minds in economics, including CNBC's Jeremy Siegel and the Nobel Prize winner, Robert Shiller, right, Ron?
Absolutely. Our partners and friends.
Yeah.
Partners and friends, that's awesome.
Amazing. He's also partnered with industry giants like the New York Stock Exchange and Goldman Sachs, which we had the privilege of visiting with you and Annexus last March.
Yes, Ron's team helped create groundbreaking products like the very first uncapped FIA, fixed index annuity, no cap. I think that was back in 2005. Ron?
It's been a while ago, yeah.
A while ago, yes, the very first.
Yep.
And later, other hybrid pension models like the DAV, the daily accumulation model, which is really one of our clients' favorites.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Now, Ron, you've been in the financial industry since your 20s. What did you see that was missing? Or really, what didn't you like about annuities back then?
So first of all, since my 20s, are you just referring, I've only been doing this for 10 years?
That's right.
This for a while.
Just 10.
Before I answer that, let me just say, first of all, for you guys, congratulations on your success. And you guys are one of the most successful duo in the United States. So we're excited to have you guys here today.
Thank you.
What was the question again?
What did you see was missing or that you didn't like back then?
I think, when people talk about, you made the comment, early on about, not liking annuities, if you will, or don't buy an annuity. I think that's like saying don't buy a car, right? I mean, you're going to own a car. Are there better cars? Are there certain cars? You need to understand what the car is. Does it fit your situation, right? So when you start talking about all the different types of annuities in the marketplace, the word annuity doesn't really do it justice, right? And I think when you hear some of our competitors on commercials that say don't buy an annuity, a lot of times they're referring to variable annuities because they're really high in expense, the fees are high, the returns are low, the risk is high. And I think the things that we're going to talk about today, FIAs, fixed index annuities, they're a great place for a client to have a guarantee of principal, opportunities for upside income, et cetera, which we'll talk about. So it's not, again, don't buy a car, don't buy an annuity. It's like, let's make sure we tailor the right kind of annuity for the client that fits their situation.
We agree, and even when we talk about cars, we talk about how there's different annuities, such as SPIAs and DIAs, where it's just lifetime income. Even my son recently, he's taking the test tomorrow for his license, and during the insurance class, they talk about annuities as a guaranteed income product, which we know not all annuities are guaranteed income products. So a lot of lack of education, so I really appreciate your illustration. We use the same illustration. What led you to having a different approach and eventually building Annexus?
Yeah, I think, typically what's happened in the past is we've been a little bit dependent on the insurance company to be innovative and creative. Annexus is a product development company, so we actually invent the widget. We create all the market material, the technology around the structure and design. And I think a big thing for me, which I think we're going to talk about, is transparency, we want to make sure, first of all, you're our client, the client's our client at the end of the day. We want to make sure we create some transparency and make sure that we've got some controls over the product structure and design and be innovative. And we're close enough to the field. And insurance companies are this big behemoth, which is great because you want the big behemoth, the Nationwides of the world, because you want to make sure your stuff is guaranteed and is in a safe spot. At the same time, us coming from the outside and say, what can we do that's going to be creative and unique and different? What are the things that clients really, really want and need to have? And that's what we've been able to do. And that was kind of the structure. So instead of me sitting around and waiting for the insurance company to come up with something unique and different, I said, why don't we do it? And then we'll take it to the insurance company. And that's really what we've been able to do.
I believe you were selling annuities back in your 20s, right?
10 years ago.
Yes, 10 years ago. How did that influence your whole vision with Annexus? Because you sat down with clients. And I believe most CEOs and actuaries and engineers, they never sat down with clients. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it influenced everything, right? Because I've sat in your seat, I've sat with your clients, I've sat in front of the client, and as we started to create product structures and designs, what the client really wanted resonated with me. That's why I was like, there's all these different types of products. Can we get some products? Can we have a large enough portfolio and be able to choose what's best for that client? What's their goals and objectives? Because you guys know your client that you have in the office at 10 a.m., the client you have at 2 p.m. are two different people, two different situations, two different goals and objectives, right? So can we take our portfolio through the Annexus structure? And that's what I did. Is I wanted to make sure we had an expanded structure, plenty of choices for clients and advisors to advise their clients. And it all happened with me sitting down with clients, and you're 100% correct. There's not anybody that's at the CEO level, in particular at the insurance company, that's ever sat with a client. And so that was the motivation behind what we do.
Yeah, we can definitely see it in your product design.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you actually give us an example of an actual first that Annexus has brought to this industry?
This is going to sound a little bit silly because we created a concept called tracking the values daily, where the client can actually see the transparency of how their actual product is doing every day. That sounds a little silly because the clients are like, well, I have my stuff in a portfolio. I can see every day how it's doing in the market. I actually can call the bank and see how my CD is doing, right? But on fixed indexed annuities, what happens is the client will buy what we refer to as a 1-year reset or 2-year reset. And along the way, if you put your 100,000 in, we don't know what the value is going to be until I refer to as pass go. Right. Okay. Once you pass go, whether that's 1 year or 2 years, then all of a sudden you win the $200, you get the $200, right? With us, we get to track it, and you guys know this story. You guys tell this story to your clients. So you get to track the values every single day, and then you know what? If we've had a really good run, we can lock it in. I'm 18 months into a 2-year structure. I can lock it in, right? Or at least the clients have some transparency on how we're doing. And to be honest with you, on these structures, we don't see a lot of this. It's very consistent, on how we win. And so we like going out to the 2-year structures and designs, and sometimes case 3 years. But that's what we did, track the values daily. So we did that 20 years ago, and nobody's actually been able to figure it out, believe it or not.
Yeah, and some insurance companies or advisors say that's not needed. But when we talk about transparency, that's one of the biggest complaints that we've seen in the industry with our clients is they're so used to tracking the values on everything, their home, their stocks, unrealized gains. And they know if they were to pass away, they would get that unrealized gains locked in. Or they can choose to sell their stocks on that day. 100%. The daily tracking is very important to them. So with most annuities, if I'm right, it's point to point. So in other words, if they pass away in the middle, they only get the previous point's value.
Remember, you didn't pass go yet.
That's right.
You don't get 200. Right. You're stuck on Illinois. You don't get your 200. Right. So and whether it's actually needed or not, is that a horrible thing if that doesn't happen? But going back to the previous point, but having the transparency and saying, hey, you know what? What's fair? Do you want to be in a 2-year design and being there 23 months and you pass and you don't get any of the gains for 23 months? We created that concept, and it goes back to your comment earlier. It's about I've sat in front of the client, I know the importance, and that's why we created it.
And one of our clients' favorite models is the nationwide daily accumulation, the DAV model. Some call it the DAV. This allows them to also select a point in time, because one of the disadvantages that a lot of people did not like about FIAs was the fact that you can be in a 2-year point to point, 3-year point to point, and the market crashes. Yeah, your principal's protected, but then you just wasted all 2-3 years of your life. Where this gives them the opportunity to lock in the gains, right?
And definitely gives you some. I'm about flexibility, right? I mean, can we some flexibility? Is that important to some people? I mean, I wouldn't get snake bit by the idea of being 12 months into the thing and the market started to correct and maybe you gave some of their gains back. But that's what the bottom line is. We have no risk of principal, but I have the flexibility to be able to grab those gains if I want. If I want to go on the sidelines for a little while, I can do that. And that was really the design concept.
It's a beautiful design because it gives our clients that don't want to manage their portfolio point to point. And those who want to be a little more involved, they can select it. Now, just real quick as well, with these innovations that you make, just so our viewers understand, you're creating this for the insurance company. So you're not the insurance company yourself.
Correct.
Right? And when you sell it to the insurance company or partner with the insurance company, it's not like you're giving the same design to multiple companies.
No, we're pretty selective on who we work with, number one. Number two, we're kind of the, back to the car analogy, for example, right? We're the engine underneath the hood. It's still Nationwide, still a car. And your money's going to Nationwide, and Nationwide's managing the asset, but behind the scenes, we bring the design, we take it to the insurance company, we say, hey, we've got something unique and different. meets their profit objectives, meets the goals for the advisor, meets the goals for the client. And that's how the structure works, absolutely. And we keep it very, very selective. We don't take it out to a bunch of different company and carriers. But I have lots of partners, but every single one of them, again, that's kind of part of the Annexus portfolio, is we have multiple companies, multiple different products, and it gives you guys the opportunity to select what works best for that client at 10 a.m. versus that client at 2 p.m.
Yeah, which reminds me of kind of like the Toyota Supra and the BMW, has the BMW chassis and the engine, right? So it's a very special partnership that you've created with different insurance companies. So that's excellent.
Yeah, and had great success doing it.
Are there any other firsts that you want to mention to us that you or your Annexus team have created here?
There are so many, and I'm saying that sincerely.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The bottom line is we've been able to really create some unique things. And you had mentioned earlier, can you imagine not having a product that was uncapped? We invented Uncapped, which is really weird because clients are like, hey, I'm uncapped in the market. I'm uncapped here, I'm uncapped there, right? Not in the FIA space, it's typically a cap. So we created an uncapped design that says, hey, what if we do really, really well? Let's you ride along, if you will, right? Not at a point in time where I'm like, back in the day, there was a 5%, 4% cap per year. And we actually had some products that were earning 10%, 15%, and 20%. And the ones that were capped were getting 4%. So over a 4-year period of time, they earned simple math 16, and our product did a lot better. So we created that concept. Now everybody does it. That's fine. That's part of the deal, right? But the reality, we've done a lot of really first-time stuff, and guaranteed income plus accumulation has never been seen before, which is a longer conversation. We've done a lot of really cool stuff.
And we've actually been one of the first customers of the Uncapped with the Robert Shiller Index, which I think you're one of the first to also partner with. Right? Yeah. Such a giant in the industry. And to have such an amazing index, we've seen double-digit returns even in our annuity.
Which is crazy, right? I mean, you're talking about a vehicle that has no risk of erosion of principal and still have double-digit returns on top of that. That's having the best of both worlds, and it's been a really cool partnership.
That's amazing.
Wow,
Thanks for sharing.
That's amazing. So you had mentioned transparency earlier. So besides daily transparency, what else did you feel annuities were missing, especially in the guaranteed income versus accumulation?
Yeah, again, I think this goes back to flexibility. I think more than anything, again, your clients are different, their goals are different, the objectives are different, their families are different, and to have a variety of different types of products and structures. The transparency for me is really more around the transparency to the advisor and making sure that we give you transparency in the structure. So when you're articulating to the client, there's a reason why you're choosing these products, because you're comfortable with them. You see the benefits, you see the value, you see the opportunity for the client. And that's what the client's partnering with you for. Is it's impossible for a client to say, hey, I see transparency in this product. They're not going to see that. We want to give you transparency to the designs so you can articulate it to the client and say, I'm choosing this particular product by this particular carrier, again, Nationwide as an example, for this reason, right? And there's guaranteed income products that you can turn an income switch on. Very few have a guaranteed income mechanism along with an accumulation mechanism, because if you never turn the income on, you want to make sure you got accumulation, right? So in some cases, you have an income product that's only going to turn on income, but 10 years from now, you're like, I don't need the income. Well, because you chose that product, you don't have any accumulation, right? And so you guys know this better than anybody. You're the most successful in the country doing it. And to be able to offer that kind of a structure that says, hey, what if your situation changes? Is the situation going to change? 100% going to change. Yeah. 100% their situation is going to change. Now, to what degree, I don't know, but that's why the portfolio and the products and the structure and the design are so critically important.
So flexibility is really the underlying part of your innovation, right?
Yeah.
And on the Nationwide, just to be clear, because we've had clients ask us, with this model, it's only one model within Nationwide or Nationwide's portfolio that has this DAV, that has this accumulation and high income as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's the partnership with Annexus, right? Nationwide has their own products, which are great. Just with us, the products that we brought to the table for them are in our distribution, our partnership with advisors like you guys. And so it's not a situation, to your point, I think, guys, you can't call Nationwide and go, hey, that's not what it works, right? It works for people like you.
That's where they got confused.
Yeah, for sure.
So we call your model, for our clients, we call it the Corvius. You found a way to have a Corvette and a Prius where they had a baby. So we call it the Corvius. You have amazing Corvette supercar that gets 30, 40 miles a gallon. I don't know, it's a horrible design, horrible illustration, but anyway, that's what we call it.
You already confused me. But I get the analogy, though. Yeah, I think that's no question. I think you're getting a souped up version.
Yeah.
And a really dumbed down strategy.
Yeah.
Right. Where your clients can actually understand what we're talking about.
Now, once Annexus launches a product, though, how is your ongoing commitment and involvement benefiting the consumer?
Our goal is when a client buys a particular product and the participation rate's X, our goal is to make sure that participation stays the entire time, and make sure that the insurance company makes profit. We want the insurance company to make profit.
Yeah,
Right.
Insurance companies don't make profit aren't around, right? And so we want to make sure they make profit. At the same time, we want to make sure they don't make so much profit that affects the client. So we stay right, every single month with the insurance companies. New products, which we'll talk about here in a second, that going forward down the road, they may not be as good as the products are today. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, the economics change, interest rates change, which we'll talk about, right? So, we stay involved, and for new clients or new purchases down the road, maybe the participation rate, if you will, is not as good as it is today, which is not impossible, but we make sure that we're going to renew that product and make sure the insurance company makes a profit, make sure the client's taken care of.
And regarding participation rates, we know that interest rate environments can change, but the ones that have already bought it, the underlying investment vehicle within the insurance company, their bonds and so forth, but you have something very special with your products. Can you tell us a little bit about the participation rates, especially, say, with the nationwide DAV model, and how the renewal rates have been since the product launch?
Yeah, and without going too deep into this, I think the interest rates, were all-time lows for 20 years, right? And we've seen it bounce back the last few years. Because of that, it gives us a little bit more yield in the product, allows us to be able to buy the options differently and invest differently, so the client gets a higher participation rate. So what used to be maybe a 75% participation, what that means is if the product did 6, you would get 4.5. Right. Now what happens if the product is 5 or 6? Now you can get 200% or 300% in today's environment. So that's why it's critical. The opportunity today to actually put these products in your portfolio are better today than they ever have been, sincerely, in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Right now is the time. And, are interest rates going to change? You bet they are. Are they going to go up? I don't know. Are they going to go down? I don't know. But if they go down, you're still going to have great value, don't get me wrong. So before having this conversation 6 to 12 months from now, and I'm saying, hey, interest rates went down, so instead of a 300% par, it's now 250. 250, on a dollar is pretty good. But right now is a great opportunity.
Right. Yeah, we've seen with the interest rates going up and down that the Annexus models, based on when the clients bought it, has been very consistent participation rates. Whereas we've seen many insurance companies, they play games.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, you're kind of police behind it.
Well, I think that's the value of you guys. That's the value of your partnership with your clients, is you guys know what Annexus does, right? And you know the types of portfolios that we have, and that's the transparency I talked about earlier. You guys see it. So when you're recommending a product, you're like, I'm recommending this that's designed by Annexus, and here's why. And that's kind of the goal.
Appreciate it.
Now, Ron, what has been the most rewarding part of your journey, you would say, whether it's your career or Annexus itself?
It's working with you guys.
Oh.
That's what we do, right? We work with really smart people who care about their clients, right? You're not in this for you. Grant you make a good living doing it. Otherwise, why would you do it, right? At the same time, it's about the client, And so I get a chance to work with really smart people and that are professionals and people that their career and their heart and care about how their clients feel. And that's the most fun for us to see the advisors win and the clients win.
Well, Ron, thank you so much for sharing your story and insights. Again, we know you're a busy man. You clearly have changed the entire annuity industry to the better for the clients especially. So we want to thank you for that.
That's cool, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's considering annuities. And we'll see you next time.